Hello and welcome to Module 2.0, the recipe for a delicious brand. Welcome to another Cakebox Academy training module. And in this module, we're going to be talking about the 6-ingredient recipe for a delicious brand. So let's jump into what we're going to cover. So we're going to discover the 6-ingredient recipe for a delicious brand, how to position your brand for success and attract the right kind of customers, how to get your point across without being too salesy, how to give your brand a visual makeover, and how to achieve ultimate brand recognition. Why you need a recipe for brand success. Branding your business is, of course, a full-time job. Focusing on these 6 key ingredients will simplify the process of creating an irresistible brand, and following a recipe will help you achieve consistency in your brand message. So let's jump into those 6 key ingredients. You've got brand voice, brand identity, the customer avatar, your brand story, the brand experience, and top-notch communication. Now let's start with the brand voice. The personality of your brand, that's your brand personified. So let's say, for example, if your brand were a living, breathing human being, what would their personality be like? Tone of voice. So that's basically how your written communication would come across, or your verbal communication. Would it be friendly? Would it be more serious? Would it be more formal? So, for example, the brand voice of a law firm will be very different to the brand voice of a daycare center, for example. So it's about addressing that balance correctly. And your brand voice is expressed through all your communication and should be consistent across all your communication channels. So that means not only your social media, that means your email, your verbal communication on the phone. Whoever answers the phone has to answer it in a certain way, because that as well is a big part of your brand voice. And also your transactional messages. What kind of messages do you put on the end of your receipts? Those are all included, and a lot of the time are overlooked. So let's look at brand identity. Your brand identity involves your logo, your color scheme, brand colors, your typography, which refers to how your fonts are organized, photography, and also your style guide, otherwise known as your brand identity document, which is something we'll talk a bit about later in the forthcoming modules. So let's move on to the brand story. The brand story is the narrative behind the brand. Gives your brand context, demonstrate how it fits into your customer's life. It's an opportunity to create brand affinity and win your customers over on an emotional level. It's the missing link in sales, even if you're not good at selling. So storytelling is very key when it comes to building a brand and positioning yourself for success, because a lot of people are out there selling. They're doing the hard sell. If you want to be different and you want to get more customers, you've got to kind of do the opposite, which is to tell a story that communicates the value of your brand or the product or service that you're offering. Now let's talk about another thing that a lot of small businesses overlook, and that is the customer avatar. The customer avatar is basically market research on steroids. Customer avatar allows you to tap in deeply into the mindset and persona of your ideal customer. It's not just demographic info, which a lot of people focus on. It's also his fears and their biggest frustrations. So the customer avatar, developing one, is the best way to discover your ideal customer and how to market to them. That's very key. And that will help you find your ideal customers and identify your tribe. The brand experience, basically what it feels like to own your product or interact with your brand. We mentioned building a brand through your customer experience. That is very key. So your customer service, your expertise, your visual identity, and anything that your customers come in contact with, that's what builds up the set of feelings, expectations, and stuff like that. That's what creates the brand in their mind, what to expect from you. So customer service, as I mentioned before, the online experience, which is really, really important, how people experience you online. So that includes your website and how user friendly it is. Those are all very important things as well. So to recap that's what it feels like to own your product, the lifestyle associated with that product, and also in a nutshell, the transformation that your product or service is going to give that customer. That's the brand experience. Okay, so those are the things we are going to cover in depth in the forthcoming modules. So with that being said, you have successfully completed this module. I look forward to going in more detail into those concepts in the next few modules. So with that being said, I'll see you in the next module. Bye for now.